Good afternoon, everyone. You are joining RiverWoods Exeter 101. And I think we will get started now because it looks like most of you have gotten through the queue. My name is Lisa Clark, and I am sales manager at RiverWoods Exeter. And this is our monthly presentation on kind of the nuts and bolts of RiverWoods Exeter. We always recommend that people attend this before they decide to come and visit us because it'll answer a lot of really important questions that you may have and help you then determine whether RiverWoods Exeter may be a good fit for you and thus inspire you to come see us. As I mentioned, my name is Lisa Clark. I am presenting this on my own today. Normally, we have another sales counselor with us, but both Dan and Chrissy are unavailable. But the three of us have been assigned to those of you on the call today. So we will be following up with you. If you want to reach out to us before we get to you, that's fine too. But would love to be available to answer your questions and then schedule either an in-person visit or a phone consultation if that is of interest to you. A few housekeeping rules today. We have everybody on mute, but we welcome your questions. There will be an opportunity at the end of this presentation for those questions. So I would encourage you to be patient. Hold your questions till the end because we are going to be answering probably a lot of what's in your head or on your paper in the coming 35 minutes or so. We are always looking for suggestions on how we can improve these presentations. And if you have any ideas on topics that you think would be of interest to you and others in your peer group, please let us know because we love to get new ideas for future presentations. So I want to start with just a little bit about RiverWoods Exeter and how we were founded. The two ladies that you're seeing on this slide here are Mariana Hatch, who lived in Durham, and Rosemary Coffin, who lived in Exeter. So RiverWoods was actually the original dream of these two ladies who began planning in the early 1980s for a community that would allow them to meet new friends, get involved in causes they care about, and stop worrying about their future healthcare needs. So they created RiverWoods Exeter, which opened in 1994. And today, more than 35 years after their first meeting, Mariana Hatch's dream was realized when we opened RiverWoods Durham back in 2019. So Riverwoods began as the dream of a small group of New Hampshire residents who wanted to create a better way to improve the experience of aging. That dream took off, and today, more than 30 years later, Riverwoods is a dynamic family of three not-for-profit communities in New Hampshire, all with the same mission, which is to improve the experience of aging. All three communities share the same values and are advised by a volunteer board that's focused on our operations. The way we are structured is the Riverwoods Group is our supportive organization that provides professional fee-based services such as human resources, marketing, information technology, finance, and quality of healthcare. The Riverwoods Group will fund any at-risk projects within the three communities, as well as any new ventures. But it's important to note that each of the three Riverwoods communities are financially independent of one another, and they each have the opportunity to provide funding to the Riverwoods Group based on their available assets. The Riverwoods Group is advised by a volunteer board of directors who are focused on mission and growth. So we're going to focus now on Riverwoods Exeter, which is the original community and now is comprised of three campuses, all located within our 200 acres of land here in Exeter. Each campus has all the needed amenities that you would want, including dining rooms, fitness facilities, art studios, libraries, as well as community gathering spaces and wellness clinics. We started in 1994 when we opened the Woods, which has 201 apartments. 10 years later, we opened the Ridge, which has 81 apartments and 11 cottages. And the Boulders opened 6 years after the Ridge in 2010, and we have 75 apartments and 24 cottages at the Boulders. It's important to note when you're researching communities, whether they are accredited or not. We are here in RiverWoods Exeter, accredited by CARF International, which it stands for the Commission for the Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. So CARF is a nonprofit accreditor of health and human services worldwide. Only about 10% of continuing care retirement communities like ours are actually accredited, and we were among the earliest to receive accreditation in 1999. We were most recently reaccredited in 2024. The accreditation periods last for 5 years, after which point you need to reapply and resubmit documentation to become reaccredited. So we're very proud of that. It's a very high bar for operational and quality standards. If you want to learn more about CARF, you can go to their website, which is www.carf.org. So if you're looking at other communities besides RiverWoods Exeter, you may want to see if those communities are indeed accredited as well. So let's talk about life care. Some of you may be new to researching this concept of moving into a community. Others of you on the presentation today may be very well versed in this, but I want to provide just some basic information. So our community, which is called a continuing care retirement community, offers what is called life care. And life care is a term that you may use interchangeably with CCRC or continuing care retirement communities. And basically, it's a community that will provide you with all different levels of services, starting out in independent living and ranging up through assisted living and long-term care. So life care is actually what we are is a long-term care insurance policy. We are actually regulated by the State Insurance Commission here in New Hampshire. And the way that our contracts are structured are that you pay an entry fee when you move into the community, and 90% of that entry fee is refunded back to your estate when you pass. So it does serve as a form of estate preservation. In addition to that entry fee, you will pay monthly fees that will remain consistent whether you are living at a level of independent living or long-term care or assisted living. We have what's called a Type A contract. And a Type A contract is just what I mentioned, in that your monthly fees would remain the same regardless of what level of care you are receiving. So you may be living in independent living and then need to move to assisted living, and you would be charged the same monthly fee, even though you would actually be getting more services within assisted living. And the nice thing about that is it gives you some predictability of your cash flow. Because we know that our health is not predictable and things unexpected can happen, but this gives you security that your cash outflow, your expenses would remain consistent. I just want to add a little caveat there that we do have annual price changes on our monthly service fees that track with inflation, but there is no difference in fees between the various levels of care that we provide here at RiverWoods Exeter. So we do offer what we call a continuum of care, starting with when you're living in independent living, you have the ability to access our wellness clinics. The wellness clinics are in each of our 3 campuses. They strictly serve our independent living residents. They offer services like blood pressure checks, wound care, flu shots. You can get lab work done there. They can help you with referrals to specialists, and they can even help you with medication management. So their role there is really to kind of help support you while you're living in independent living. They do not replace your primary care physician, but they can often save you a trip to see your primary care physician. The wellness clinics are open Monday through Friday from, I believe, 8:30 to about 4:30. They have walk-in hours in the morning, and then in the afternoon, they have hours by appointment. So a lot of really nice support that you can get while you're living independently. Should you need a higher level of supported living, you have the option of moving into assisted living apartments. We have apartments both for singles as well as for couples, where you would receive a little bit more support. At that point, you would start to receive 3 meals a day as well. And if your needs increased beyond that, we would have you move into enhanced assisted living, which is a private suite, a bed and a bath. You can put your own furnishings in it if you like. And within that level of care, enhanced assisted living, we're providing 24/7 nursing for long-term memory support as well as nursing care. We also offer respite care, which would be a temporary stay within our healthcare lodge. So you may have a bad case of the flu or COVID and need to make sure that you're staying hydrated and you have access to a nurse who can make sure you're doing okay. Or it may be, you're recovering from some sort of surgery and you just need to kind of have a little bit of oversight before you move back into your independent apartment. So respite care is really helpful. Um, and really all of this together provides peace of mind for families who want to make sure that you are aging well and that somebody is keeping an eye on you because it is really one organization here at RiverWoods Exeter that's accountable for your care journey and making sure that you're well cared for, whether you're transitioning from independent living to assisted living, or whether you're transitioning from respite care back to independent living. I want to talk a little bit more about healthcare at RiverWoods Exeter. We do have a medical director here who oversees residents who are in our skilled nursing area. Our medical director is a gentleman by the name of Brian Trazek. He is a contracted physician through a company called Vantage Healthcare, and he collaborates closely with our wellness clinic, our directors of nursing, and our quality department. He is also supported by a nurse practitioner. Dr. Trazek is visiting us weekly, doing rounds, and then the nurse practitioner also visits weekly on a different day of the week to do rounds as well to our residents who are under their care. We have several hospitals within pretty close proximity to us. We have Exeter Hospital, which is affiliated with Beth Israel Lahey. And Exeter Hospital is right in town. It's about 3.5 miles away. We also have Portsmouth Regional Hospital, which is up in Portsmouth, about a 25-minute drive, known for their good cardiac care. And we're just 60 minutes to the Boston hospitals as well. So we do have good access to acute care if it's needed. So all this, really helps provide you with a smart financial situation for healthcare because, as I mentioned earlier, your monthly service fees remain the same regardless of what level of care that we're providing to you. If you do move into assisted living or nursing care, there will be a charge for 2 additional meals per day because we do provide 3 meals a day for anyone who's in our healthcare services. And there may be an out-of-pocket expense for some durable equipment like walkers. Anything that's a medical service, we will still bill out to Medicare. So we need to make sure that you have Medicare A and B as well as a supplemental policy when you come live here because we will bill appropriate services out to medical insurance. We are going through a bit of an evolution here with our healthcare planning to support our residents. When we originally developed the community, we built the three campuses, each containing a healthcare lodge that has assisted living and long-term care and memory support. One of our campuses also has short-term rehab. That would be at the Ridge campus. So if you had a hospital stay, you could go into a skilled nursing bed, Medicare licensed bed at the Ridge campus until you recover and can go back to independent living. But some of the challenges that we've encountered, particularly in recent years with this model of having three small healthcare lodges, is it's pretty inefficient with staffing. We have limited amenities at each of these three healthcare lodges. And our buildings are aging now so that we're really restricted in terms of what kind of technology we can be utilizing within our healthcare lodges. So we made a decision several years ago to start planning for a centralized healthcare lodge where we would take the three healthcare lodges we have and move those residents into a brand new state-of-the-art centralized healthcare lodge. With the goal of streamlining our clinical operations, improving our care coordination, and really enhancing resident access to our services. We're still working through the timeline on this, but we are hopeful that we will actually hopefully be breaking ground sometime mid to late next year. But more to come on that. We're very excited. One of the benefits of this is it will allow us to have a dedicated dementia care area with highly trained staff and programming for that. And we haven't been able to do that with the existing model because each of our healthcare lodges has maybe 30 to 35 residents in it, of which about half of those are actually in long-term care and have cognitive issues. So we're excited to be able to really raise the bar on the quality of services that we provide once we have residents all in one space. So I want to shift to talking about the services that we provide while you're living in independent living. When you're living here, you will be receiving a great dining program, and I'm going to talk in a little bit about how that works. But we have a very flexible dining program. Each campus has a fitness center and an indoor pool that you can access. We have loads of entertainment and cultural opportunities. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later in the presentation. We have a fantastic transportation team of drivers and buses and small cars to get you where you need to go because eventually people stop driving and we want to make sure you can still get to the grocery and get to the doctor and the important places that you need to go. Your monthly fee will include those services above as well as housekeeping. Every other week, we'll come in and clean your apartment. We also provide flat linen service, so your sheets and your towels we will launder weekly for you. We take care of all the interior and exterior maintenance on your home or your apartment. And we include utilities in your monthly service fee. So your water, your electricity, your heating, air conditioning are all included in your monthly service fee. And then, of course, access to our wellness clinics, which I talked about earlier in the presentation, are available to you at no additional fee. And lastly, but really importantly, when you're living at RiverWoods Exeter, you will have the comfort of a 24-hour security service, as well as an emergency response system. So all of our residences here are equipped with emergency response systems and monitors to make sure that you are safe and well in your home. So I want to talk a little bit more about dining because that's a really important part of the experience in a community. It's important for socialization and of course, well-being and enjoyment. Your monthly fee will include a bank of dining points. So a certain number of dining points that can be used for prepared meals in our dining room or on a takeout basis. Those points will cover guest meals or catering, or even perishable grocery items within our marketplace. The number of points that you receive will cover one robust meal a day, like a 5-course meal. But many people stretch it out to cover some food item at lunch and something at dinner. You have the opportunity to dine at 5 different restaurants across our 3 campuses here in Exeter. And our chefs work hard to make sure that we are paying attention to residents' dietary preferences and restrictions. So our menus are marked with what would be dairy-free, what items would be gluten-friendly, as well as vegetarian. And we do provide a listing of the ingredients for the meals that we do serve. We try to source as much as we can locally. We are surrounded by a wonderful network of farmers. So we're able to source our meats, our dairy, our fish, and much of our produce, of course, depending on the season, from our New Hampshire farmers. This is a picture of one of our dining rooms. This is at the Boulders campus. Beautiful, warm space with a nice fireplace. In the rear of this picture, there's a patio outside, so we do also offer outdoor dining within this space. And this is a picture of our Ridge Bistro. So the Ridge campus has both this more casual bistro space, and then in the rear of this picture is a doorway leading to a dining room where residents are more apt to have their evening meals in that space. I mentioned earlier we offer some grocery items. This is actually a picture of our country store, which is at the Woods campus. Every campus has a country store that will have dry goods and toiletries. The store at the Woods is the most robust in its inventory because we have the most residents at that campus. But all 3 country stores are managed by residents who volunteer their time. They do the purchasing and the stocking, and they staff the stores. So anything you purchase in these stores would just be added to your monthly bill. But you can see from the variety of goods here that you can really probably save yourself a few trips to the grocery store if you were to run out of something. So it's a great convenience for our residents. I want to shift now to talking a little bit more about the lifestyle at RiverWoods Exeter, what kind of activities you can enjoy doing here, as well as we'll get into showing you some pictures of apartments and cottages so that you have a sense of what some of the interiors look like. This is a picture of Boulders Hall at the Boulders campus. This is our largest gathering space, which seats up to 200 people. And then in this space, we will host lectures, performances, parties. We will host resident meetings here. Really a variety of events that may be attended by residents from all 3 of the RiverWoods Exeter campuses. Because this is our largest gathering space. For those of you who play duplicate bridge, they also do that in this room on Thursday afternoons. So it's a great multi-purpose space. We've had some really interesting presenters here. Dan Brown, the author, has spoken a few times in here. We invite political candidates to come speak here when we're in a primary season. We had Chris Christie speak in this space when he was in the primary. So it's a space that, regardless of what campus you would live on at RiverWoods Exeter, you would most definitely come to events in Boulders Hall. So I'd like to talk about some of the educational events that we have here. We have an education committee at RiverWoods Exeter. It's one of 49 different committees and clubs that we have and that you could get involved with. So the Education Committee is responsible for some of the programming of events at RiverWoods Exeter. So they will identify people who may either be residents or from the outside who would be interesting speakers to come in and speak on various topics. They also identify which courses will be offered through the Great Courses curriculum. We usually will have 2 or sometimes 3 different courses running concurrently from the Great Courses. They will run virtual classes offered through Zoom, and then they also will organize cultural outings. So it's a great committee that does a lot of important work here in terms of bringing in entertainment and cultural activities. We do have one person on staff here who actually also organizes some of the other really more entertainment-oriented events. Some of the events we had recently where we brought in a class in musical appreciation, which was a lecture on the magic of Peter, Paul, and Mary. And so we had someone come in and deliver a lecture on Peter, Paul, and Mary, their history, how they contributed to society. So that would be an example of a type of event that we would program and that we did in Boulders Hall. We also brought in someone to speak on the covered bridges of New Hampshire. So this woman is an author of this book about covered bridges in New Hampshire. So I just mentioned these to give you a sense for the type of variety of entertainment and programming that we bring on campus here. We are also doing things off campus. We're going to Red Sox games. We're going to plays up at the Ogunquit Playhouse or cultural events at the Music Hall in Portsmouth, sometimes down to the Boston Symphony in Boston. So a lot of opportunities for cultural enrichment to enjoy with fellow residents. I want to shift now to talk about our library network here. Each of our 3 campuses has a library. This particular one is at the Ridge campus. It will be stocked with not only books, but a pretty broad array of daily newspapers, both national and local, as well as periodicals. As well as puzzles and DVDs. So a lot of media is available to you in here. You'll see on the left, we have actually a puzzle table set up in this particular library. But when you move into RiverWoods, you'll actually be able to access not only all 3 of our campus libraries, but also as a resident of the town of Exeter, you could get a library card and have privileges at the Exeter Town Library. Each of our libraries are overseen by a resident-run library committee. So each of the 3 campuses has a library committee that discusses and determines what new books would be purchased, because they do have a budget to work with for that. So let's go from inside to outside and talk about how you stay active here, because some people we know are very motivated to move. And it's easy to do that. Even if you're not motivated, we'll get you motivated to move here at RiverWoods Exeter. Each of our 3 campuses has an indoor pool as well as a hot tub. Each has a fully equipped fitness room for our cardio activity or weightlifting. And we have a very broad variety of fitness classes each week. And all of this is free, included in your monthly service fees. In addition to the fitness classes and things here, we have beautiful walking trails throughout our 200 acres. We have about 5 miles of hiking trails, also used for snowshoeing in the winter. This is a picture of one of our 3 pools. This is at the Boulders campus. It is a 20-yard pool. People enjoy this not only for lap swimming, but we do run exercise classes 3 days a week in each of our pools. And we also do a weekly volleyball session every Wednesday afternoon. We keep our pools nice and comfortable between 85 and 88 degrees, and all of our pools are also salt water. So they're very soft and gentle on your skin. This is one of our cardio spaces. This is also at the Boulders campus. So each campus will have a room full of, the most current cardio equipment. And I should mention that all of these spaces, with exception of dining, are open 24/7. So if you are a night owl and want to get on that treadmill at night or in the wee hours of the morning, you are more than welcome to do so. Pickleball, of course, is quite the rage in the last few years. So we do have two pickleball courts that are located here in an area called Gooch Park, which is a big open park on our land, and is centrally located among our three campuses. So this has been a very popular activity here and a great way to stay fit. For those of you who are more creatively inclined, you will love what you can access here at RiverWoods. We have a lot of residents who came here already doing art, but we also have some that didn't have time in their prior chapters of life to tap into that side of their brain. But once they come here and they have access to our art studios, it's a space where they can really unleash that inner artist. So we have not only paint studios, but we have a pottery studio, we have a music room, and we also have two wood shops. So lots of opportunity here to tap into your artistic side. This is a picture of one of our art studios at the Woods campus, which is well utilized by the painters because they love the light that comes in to this space. In the foreground, you will see in the lower left, actually a Nantucket basket that's being woven there. This particular art studio at the Woods campus has quite an array of molds for basket weaving. So that's one of the activities that people really enjoy here. If they're not feeling like they're skilled at painting, they can always get into the basket weaving. I mentioned that we have two wood shops. This is gentlemen at our wood shop in the Woods campus, which is the larger of the two wood shops. The second wood shop is over at the Ridge campus. But we have people making trail signs, paddles, trivets, cutting boards, and some people even making furniture here. Very well resourced wood shop and a great place to have fun and bond with fellow residents. For those of you who are more musically inclined, we do have a lot of musicians here. We have people playing stringed instruments, wind instruments, and we have quite a large chorus here. We have about a 60-member chorus. We also have a women's barbershop quartet and a recorder group. So you will find people playing ukuleles, pianos, all sorts of instruments here at RiverWoods Exeter, and we do put on performances in our larger gathering spaces. So we welcome musicians and singers because it really adds a lot of delightful entertainment for the community. For those who love to dig in the dirt and consider that their therapy, you will have plenty of opportunity to do that at RiverWoods. We have raised garden beds at all three of our campuses that if you are interested in having one, you would just sign up for one in the spring and we'll fill it with compost and loam. There's conveniently located hoses nearby and you can plant whatever you want to plant. If you're not feeling like you're wanting to dig in the dirt, you can still enjoy the beauty of our landscaping. We are actually New Hampshire's largest arboretum here at RiverWoods Exeter. We have more than 300 species and they are all identified with QR codes. So you can scan the QR code and figure out what kind of tree it is that you're looking at or what kind of shrub. So it's really a beautiful space for those of you who enjoy gardening and the outdoors. We do practice organic landscaping techniques here. We have a really wonderful landscape manager here who joined us a few years ago. And she's very innovative and very conscientious of making sure that we are practicing healthy organic gardening. All right, now we're going to shift to the inside, back to the inside, and talk about some of the features of the apartments and cottages here at RiverWoods. All of our apartments and cottages are equipped with fully equipped kitchens because we do expect that when you're moving into independent living, you are still capable of doing some level of cooking. You may not enjoy cooking, which is fine because we have a lot of prepared meals here. But you will have a beautiful kitchen to access when you move into your cottage or apartment. Each unit has individually controlled heating and air conditioning, so you never need to worry about being too warm or too cool because you're the one who will manage that temperature within your living space. All of our buildings and cottages have a built-in Wi-Fi network that is secure to your devices. We also have a resident IT specialist who is there to support residents who need support. Um, all of the cottages and apartments will also have solariums. So the solariums actually apply more to apartments than to cottages, but it's really a bump out space that provides big windows and brings a lot more light into the apartments. Each building has storage areas that will be easy to access for you. If you're in an apartment, you'll have a storage locker about the size of a telephone booth, but it's someplace you can store off-season luggage or golf clubs or extra Costco purchases, perhaps. Um, we also have 24-hour emergency response system built into our residences. We have motion detectors whereby if we don't sense motion in your home by 10 o'clock in the morning, we will call you to make sure you're okay. If you don't answer, we'll send somebody to check on you. And if you're a late sleeper, we can always adjust that time to later in the morning. We just want to make sure that you are safe in your space. We also have plenty of safety systems. We have emergency pull cords in the bathrooms of all of our residences, and our residents are provided with an emergency call pendant when they move in. Many don't use it in the early years that they're living here in independent living, but as they get older and maybe more prone to needing support, they might start to wear that on a more regular basis. We have guest rooms at all three of our campuses. So if you have an occasional visitor, perhaps a child or relative or friend who wants to visit you, we do have guest spaces that we can put them up in. And then we have plenty of parking options. We assign everyone an outdoor parking spot or two if there's two of you and two cars. But we also do have covered parking options for those who want to have some covered parking. Those are available for an additional fee. The fee varies by campus, but it is available. So we're going to start by looking at this is a large one-bedroom apartment at the Woods campus. This is called a Trillium. And in the back of this picture where there's a lot of light coming, and that's actually what we call the solarium, which is a great sitting reading space. Some of the features I want to point out on this is the flooring is actually a luxury vinyl flooring that mimics the look of wood. We offer it in several different colors, depending upon if you like something that looks like an oak or something that looks like a pine. So you have some options there. And this is the kitchen in the same apartment. So we have a quartz countertop here, beautiful shaker style, craft-made cabinetry. You'll have an electric range there, and we also have a dishwasher, which you can't really see, and a nice stainless steel refrigerator. So everything is fully applianced here. If the apartment is being completely done over, you'll have the choice of choosing the countertop and the flooring. But anybody moving in always gets their choice of paint color and carpeting. This is an apartment over at our Ridge campus. This is called a Magnolia, which is about a 1,300 square foot apartment, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, has a really beautiful solarium space in the rear of this that's used as both a reading space as well as I think they have a TV mounted on the wall to the right there. We can't see it, where they would watch TV in this space. Big kitchen, nice big kitchen counter, and beautiful spacious dining room area as well. And this is an apartment at the Boulders campus. This is a modest sized 2 bedroom apartment called a Cypress. You're looking at the living room as well as the kitchen space. And the solarium is off to the left there, kind of hard to see, but you'll see some windows there. Again, a really beautiful open space. They've added a lot of their own touches here. You can see they like the color red. But really nice size apartment over at the Boulders campus. And lastly, I want to share this picture of a kitchen in one of our cottages. So this kitchen is in one of our spruce cottages at the Boulders campus. And the resident moving in here chose these granite countertops, as well as a different color of cabinetry, and flooring that matches the color scheme that they were aiming for. So let's talk about our location. For those of you who are not familiar with where our community is, we're located near downtown Exeter. So we're about 3 miles outside of downtown Exeter. And we sit on 200 acres near the Exeter River. We are not in a floodplain, but we have pretty nice access to the Exeter River that you're looking at here. If you prefer to go kayaking, you can drop your kayaks into the river here. Our proximity is really nice relative to Portsmouth, which is about a 25-minute drive, Manchester, which is about a half-hour away, Portland, as well as Boston, which are each about an hour. So really nice access to several transportation hubs as well as cultural areas. And you also have great access to the whole seacoast region here in New Hampshire, as well as the mountains and the lakes region. So it's really an ideal location for getting into the city, as well as getting into the country or the mountains or the lakes. Some of you are probably from New Hampshire and thus familiar with New Hampshire's tax advantages, but for those of you who are not, it is a great place to retire and a great place to live, even if you're still working, because there is no general sales tax here in New Hampshire. There's no personal income tax, and there's no capital gains tax. So we are one of the top ranked New England states for taxation, and we have the 5th lowest tax burden in the country. So a lot of benefits to living here. This is a summary of pricing. Some of you have received a sample pricing sheet. If one of the sales counselors has been in touch with you, they've sent that to you. But for those of you who are not, this will give you an idea of the range of sizes of apartments we offer, as well as price points. So we do have on the smaller end, we have studios that start at around $250,000 entry fee and a little over $3,000 monthly fee. And then we get as large as cottages. Our largest cottage is 2,350 square feet. The entry fee is a little over 1.1 million, and the monthly fees are around between $9,200 and $9,800 a month. If you're coming in as a couple, you will also pay a second person entry fee, which is currently $64,000. That is entirely non-refundable. However, the larger number for the first person, the entry fee is 90% refundable. And then we do have a second person monthly fee as well, which is currently around $2,100. Now, that monthly fee, remember, is covering your access to any level of healthcare here. So not only is it covering the roof over your head and access to all those activities, it's covering some of your dining points, as well as access to healthcare. If you're wondering, gee, can I really afford it, or what could I afford at RiverWoods? We have recently developed a tool here called Money Gauge. And it's a way that you can go online and pretty quickly get an answer to that question. You can enter very sort of high level financials. It's very secure. It's fast, and it'll give you an idea of what you might be able to afford at Riverwoods. Now, when we do this analysis, we're looking across all three Riverwoods communities in Durham and Manchester and Exeter. So it's not super fine-tuned down to the floor plan in Exeter, but it'll at least give you a general idea of what you may be able to afford across our three campuses. So if you're curious about this, you can go to our website and look for that money gauge, or you can scan this QR code here and go ahead and fill out that tool, and it'll show you pretty quickly what you may be able to afford. So if you're feeling like you might be interested in getting onto our wait list, I'm going to talk about that next. You're looking here at some very enthusiastic residents here who are playing bocce together at the Woods campus. And they are excited, as you can tell. So let's talk about the waitlist process. We do have a waitlist here at RiverWoods Exeter. It's long. We estimate anywhere from 4 to 10 years before we would be able to offer you a residence here. If you're looking for a one bedroom, it's going to be more in that 4 year range. If you're looking for a modest size apartment, either a one bedroom plus den or a 2 bedroom, you're probably looking at 6 to 8 years. And if you're looking for something large 2 bedroom or cottage, we're currently estimating 8 to 10 years. So it really depends on the floor plan, but we like to be transparent with our estimated wait times because we don't want you counting on us for a home if you're really needing to have something in a shorter time frame than that. If you were interested in applying, you would fill out a confidential data profile to determine your financial qualification. Once you are approved, we would have you sign a waitlist agreement and put down a what we call a reservation fee that really holds your place in line. And that reservation fee depends on the size of the apartment or cottage that you're applying for to be on the wait list for. So it ranges from $25,000 to $99,000. That fee will earn 4% simple interest if you become a resident. If you don't become a resident, it earns 0.25%. And if you decide to make another plan and when you want to leave the wait list, you will get everything refunded except for $1,000. It's a super flexible process. You tell us when you're ready. If we call you about something before you feel like you're ready, there is no penalty for saying no. So it's very, very flexible. All right, we're going to shift now to some frequently asked questions. Some of you may have a long-term care policy and wonder how you can use that at Exeter, RiverWoods Exeter. So if you have a long-term care policy, it's kind of redundant of what we're offering you because we're offering you a long-term care policy. So many people get rid of their policies when they come to live at RiverWoods, but if you wanted to keep it, you could file claims for reimbursement. If you go into some level of health care that would qualify for reimbursement, you could do that. And if you have further questions, you can talk to your sales counselor about that. Some couples may wonder, what happens if my husband or wife needs a higher level of care, but I'm still, skipping down the pathway just fine? So when that happens, there's a couple of options. You can either stay in your independent apartment together while you're continuing to care for your partner, or you could bring in private services. But sometimes that's not manageable. So the partner who needs more support can move over to at the healthcare lodge into assisted living or enhanced assisted living based on what's appropriate. And you would then be living in two different apartments. One of you would stay in independent living, the other would move into some level of health care, but your monthly fee stays the same as it was before, as if you're occupying one apartment. What happens if you're not ready when we call you about an apartment? Do you go to the bottom of the list? This is a big fear of people because communities like ours have different policies around this. As I stated earlier, if we call you before you're ready, there is no penalty for you to say no. We are going to keep in touch with you, hopefully every year, so that you are letting us know kind of where your head is at about your readiness. Excuse me. How long do I have to move in once I'm offered an apartment or cottage? So generally it takes us 60 days to refurbish an apartment and 90 days to refurbish a cottage. We're going to be calling you 2 to 4 weeks in advance of that time frame. So you'll have generally about at least 2.5 months to plan for that. You will probably get a couple of calls from us saying we're getting close before we actually have something to offer you. So it's not like it'll be a shock when we call you. But generally, once you have qualified for an apartment and done your health assessment, you would need to be ready within 60 days to pay the entry fee on that residence. So I'd like to open it up to questions now, and you can answer your questions in the Q&A box, which is located at the bottom of your screen. And I'm going to jump right into that. What's the additional meal charge per meal with expanded care? It's about $600 a month for 2 additional meals per day once you go into healthcare. We have a question about where the new healthcare lodge will be located. And it's going to be located just around the corner from the Ridge campus. And it will be, we have a building there now called Campus Crossing, which is where the RiverWoods group has been located, but has recently moved out of. So we'll be taking that building down. There's a question, why are current residents not enthusiastic about this change? Actually, many of them are enthusiastic. We do have a handful who are not. And that's because they moved into the community wanting to know that they could walk down the hallway to see their loved one and visit them if their loved one was in assisted living. We are just not able to support that model anymore. So people are disappointed about that. But we have many residents who understand the dynamics of the healthcare market and how difficult it is to get nurses and how much our buildings have aged. And so many of them are quite supportive of this decision because they want to make sure that they have quality healthcare, which is the whole reason people come to live here. Okay, what's been the annual inflation rate over the last 10 years? It's been roughly in, prior to the pandemic, it was 2.9% for the prior 15 years leading up to the pandemic. During the pandemic, we had to take some above average increases. We actually did a 6% and an 8% increase because we did a minimum wage increase and we did a major nursing wage increase, and we did both of those in the middle of the year, so they were unbudgeted. These past 2 years, we've done 3.25 and 3.75% increases on our monthly service fees. If you live in a 2-bedroom cottage, can grandchildren or children stay overnight when visiting? Absolutely. We have a limit of 30 consecutive days for guests to visit. Most people don't want more than that, so works just fine. Is there a place to store kayaks and canoes? Yes, we have a place to store kayaks. No, we do not have space for canoes. Okay, answered that. Do people who have a one bedroom or studio have waitlist priority for two bedroom apartments? Uh, oh boy. Okay. The way the waitlist process works is if you're qualified financially for something, you will decide what you want to be listed for. And that is specific to the floor plan name. So we keep a separate wait list for every style of floor plan. You can be listed for as many styles as you wish and that you're qualified for. And the priority on any wait list is always based on your initial date of joining the wait list. Okay. The question about the health assessment, it's a clinical consultation with our nurse practitioner or one of our nurse practitioners, and it's really to assess whether independent living is appropriate for you. So they're looking at cognition, they're looking at mobility and balance to make sure that you can be safe in independent living. We have a question about medical deductions and how that works. So, when you are living in a community like ours, which has a type A contract, a portion of your monthly fee is considered a prepaid medical expense for long-term care. And thus, it would qualify for a tax deduction, a medical tax deduction. It's usually about a third of your monthly service fees. And obviously, it depends on your individual tax situation as to whether that's something that you could take advantage of or not. But your sales counselor can dig into more of that, answering more of that question. How many residents at each campus? Great question. The Woods campus in independent living has about 250 residents because they have 200 apartments there. The Ridge campus has about 130 or so in independent living, and the Boulders campus has about 150, although, probably 40 of those are off-site in cottages. In the winter, how do people go from one residence to another? Well, many people are walking because they're independent. So they're bundling up and walking, but we do have a transportation team that can give you a ride to a different campus if you don't care to walk, or you can hop in your own car. We also have bicycles at all three campuses. So if it's nice weather and you want to hop on a bike, you can do that. What's the status of the new building? We're currently working through legal approvals. I don't really want to say anything more than that, but we are optimistic that that will be resolved. Information about the health assessment. For example, most likely to be able to independent living 3 years, 5 years. We just look at, are you able to live in independent living as of today? So we don't really look at how long we think you'll be able to live in independent living. We really just look at current state. What about cats and dogs? We love them. We love them. So you can have up to 2 pets here. We have no breed restrictions. We keep treats for the dogs at all of our front desks and love to see them out and about. They do need to be leashed. They need to be managed in terms of not barking, but love having pets around. Will the new facility be only for those needing enhanced medical care 24/7? Well, similar to what we have today, there will be assisted living, and there will be enhanced assisted living and memory care, as well as short-term rehab. So, the levels of care that residents need within each of those 3 levels can vary, but it will be similar to what we have today. We will not have any independent residences in that new healthcare lodge. We talked about pet restrictions already. Is there hospice care? You can certainly get hospice care here. We don't provide it. You would engage with actually a local provider who would come in and could do hospice care, whether you're living in independent living or some level of health care. And we have a whole social work team that can help you navigate that and connect you with a hospice agency. Love this question. Thank you, Diane, for this reminder. Do we have to enter an independent living or can we enter into assisted living? In the last 2 years, we have started taking people directly into assisted living because we've been underoccupied in our assisted living lodges. So if that is a need, we are currently taking people directly into assisted living. I think last year we might have taken in a dozen or so people. But it really depends on capacity because we are reserving most of our capacity for our independent residents who need to move over to a higher level of care. But if you currently feel you need an assisted living level of care, please reach out to us. Or if you know of somebody who needs that level of care, please refer them to us and we'd be happy to talk to them about whether we have capacity or could get them on a wait list. Will my entrance fee be held in escrow? When is it refunded after I pass? So yes, we hold your entrance fee to refund 90% of it back to you. It is not used for operations, and it is refunded to you, I think, within 60 days after the residence is reoccupied by somebody new. So it can take a couple of months to get it reoccupied because we're refurbishing it, and then a couple of months after that until you would receive it back. Do you have electric vehicle chargers? Yes, we do. And if I move into a cottage, can I downsize to an apartment at a later date? Steve, the way our model works is you move in once and then the next move would be into assisted living. We don't generally move people from a cottage into an apartment. We have, and we do have a internal move policy, but we like people to plan on really living in their cottage until they need assisted living services. What percentage of residents are typically from outside New England area? I would say about 30% are from outside the 6 New England states. Can you have some level of assisted living if you are in a cottage? We do have a home health care service. It's available Monday through Friday. So if you need just limited services for helping with bathing or dressing, something like that, we do have services available. And can you summarize your refund policy again? So yes, the estate receives 90% of the first person's entry fee after you pass. That is correct. On average, how many units become available each year? We usually turn over somewhere between 35 and 40 units each year. It's about a 10% turnover. We have 393 residences here. Let's see. Can one resident downsize if the other resident dies? We don't typically do that, Carla. Again, if everybody moved after they became widowed, all we'd be doing is moving people. So we really encourage you to choose the size of residence that works for you, whether there's 2 of you or 1 of you in the apartment. As I mentioned earlier, we do have an internal move policy. Typically, we're moving people for financial reasons. They have exhausted their assets or they have a high medical need, such as needing to be closer to the dining room because maybe mobility is an issue for them. So we encourage you to choose what will work, whether there's 2 or 1 of you in the apartment. If you have a second place that you'll be living in for 6 months of the year, is there a reduced fee? Yeah, you can drop down to a reduced meal plan. You'd get a credit for that. And then there's a slight, what we call away credit that you would also get. And this is the last question I'm going to answer because we're really over our time. Do the residences have a washer and a dryer? Absolutely. They have a washer and dryer, except for the very smallest ones. We do not have washers and dryers in our studios or our very tiny 1-bedrooms, but we do have plenty of laundry rooms that residents can access. Okay, I'm going to just cover just a couple more quick things. We have a service now called NaviGuide. So if you are needing support at home, need to know what services there are out there that you can access, I encourage you to scan this QR code. and talk to Amanda Kelly, who is our liaison for a service called NaviGuide. It's a subscription service for older adults and their caregivers and can connect you to a wide range of support services and resources that can come in home and help you. We also recently launched a service called Dementia Hub. So it's for caregivers or those living with dementia that can get you connected to a network of support groups and also help connect you with some resources and services if you're living with dementia. We have a great workshop coming up on November 20th called Financial Risks and Rewards of Choosing a Life Care Community. This features our CEO, Kevin Goyette, as well as a gentleman from the Ziegler Group. The Ziegler Group is an investment firm investing in senior living communities. So that's a great event to attend, or we will post it to our website in the future so you can also listen to it later for that. And that is pretty much what I have to share with you today. I appreciate everyone's attention. We run a couple minutes over today, but it was such a great list of questions that people asked. So thanks for joining us today. We will be sending out a recording of this that you can watch again, or you can share it with your friends or your family. And if you're interested in scheduling a phone consultation or a visit, you can reach out to us, or we will reach out to you in the coming days to talk to you about that. Thanks again, and hope everybody has a great day.